Hello, I'm your friendly mythological hacker um, and practitioner. I have entitled this Toward a New and Better World. And there's give you kind of an overview and then go into some details. What I think we need is more healing integration, you know. This is things that I teach. Non-punishing attitudes, um, big picture spirituality, um, and a big category, improved educational system. And there's a lot here. How to think, not what to think. Emotional, social education, and financial and investment education, real world skills, health education and phys ed, and fun and self-realization skills. That's a lot to unpack and without putting everybody to sleep, including myself on this early morning. But I'll get through as much of this as I can. I might have a sequel to finish the rest, but maybe I'll just go light and do the whole thing. Let's see. A more healing integration. A society that focuses on healing means a society that focuses on fixing problems. You know, view things instead of good and evil or whatever is problems that need to be solved. Should be non-punishing. Punishing people doesn't really change them. They might act better out of fear, but do you trust that? That's where I talk about in my system, you know, how to be that better person that you can be, you know, or how to grow anyway toward that. B, let's see. Big picture spirituality. Yeah, the ability to get outside of things and look at the big picture. I think we need a society that does more of that. Outside of your ego, outside of all of the stress in your life, the things that you want to believe, just get outside of it. And I call it spirituality because when you do that, you realize the basic skills that have evolved in the social animal that we are, and those things are the closest thing to spirituality I can think of. Creativity to produce art. That meets human needs. Another that meets human needs is empathy. And I don't think that needs a lot of explaining. And objectivity means valuing facts over what you want to believe. That's truth. And to me, these three things are major parts of spirituality. And the other part is the trust. And that grows as you move in these directions. You can trust the love, because all of these ways of meeting human needs are love. So that's what I mean by big picture spirituality. Being in touch with the big picture in terms of values and in terms of seeing problems from outside, not within the problem. Improved educational system, oh yes. How to think and not what to think. Telling kids what to think is boring. And they also add to that these crippling concepts of the importance of testing. You say, oh, we have to have testing. Well, there's a lot of nuanced ways to do testing so that you don't cause the child to have a self-esteem problem or idea that I'm dumb or I'm smart. You know, it's just getting them into the fun of learning. That's, you know, and when you're there, who cares? You know, when you've got that kind of feeling toward education, then you want to be educated, and that can only be a good thing. So yeah, how to think, not what to think. And instead of handing a child a formula that gives them the answer and help them understand why the formula works. Give them a problem to solve. And, you know, encourage them and, you know, feedback and, you know, praise them, you know, for where they have asked the right questions. Put kids in to mix them up, you know, the high performing, the low performing, you mix them up and put them on teams. That's a good way to encourage education. And test the teams, not the individual. Test the progress. You know, so that's, I think you'll see all of the children blossoming, you know, beyond what we've been seeing. It does build skills. It's more fun and inspiring, and it builds self-esteem. Yeah, you can be on that winning team. You know, even though you're not the best, you can contribute, and that teaches everyone that you don't have to be the best to contribute. And what is the best anyway, and who judges that? Anyway, you can be on a team and you can contribute, and this is how life is. You know, we depend on each other. So I think those are important things. Emotional intelligence, social intelligence, education. Well, when you educate kids about their emotions, then they're not controlled as much by their emotions, by their spur-of-the-moment desires, and that's very important. When they've tested this sort of thing, it's produced 10% less violence and 10% better academic performance. Well, what do you know? Again, back to that thing of, you know, where there isn't the emotional understanding and where there isn't the encouragement to think, there is, and the joy of thinking, you know, that there tends to be problems, not just in self-esteem, But let's look at it this way. It helps reduce anxiety. Testing and educating to the test, this big test looming ahead. Well, anxiety cuts those abilities. It cuts those abilities. You feel me? Yeah. So you don't want to emphasize that. Again, we're rehashing that a little. Another point, financial and investment education. Why? It teaches us how to make money and how to spend it wisely, and teaches how to create a more secure future. This should be something that is taught early in the schools, all the way through school. How to handle money. We are trading partners, and we're not teaching trade. I don't care what kind of government you're in or whatever, you're making trades. How do you make a good trade? How do you predict what is the best trade to make? How do you use that to make a more secure future for yourself and your family and so on? These things are very important, and they're not being done, so I'm mentioning that. I think, what we're teaching kids is we're just letting them be consumers. That's it. But the real world doesn't work that way. Another point, real world skills. Mentioned that in the overview. These are basic on-demand skills that help children succeed at their first jobs. If they're ready, they're not afraid, they know how to do the thing, that builds their self-esteem, and that launches them on, confidently into a better life in the future. Let's see, health, education, and phys ed. Well, it teaches us how to communicate with healthcare workers and doctors, and the physical awareness in motion, very important. That teaches us how to be sensitive to our bodies, and it's not this performance push. More. You can injure yourself like that. You learn what your capacity is. Each individual child, what is your capacity? How can you increase it? How can you improve your health and your awareness of what is health? Exercise is so important. It's been seen as effective as antidepressants for people that suffer from depression. Why not teach kids the value and the fun of education and phys ed right from the beginning, instead of this push, everybody's got to do this, No, you don't. How about some yoga classes? You let the people work, let the children grow in a way that is sensitive to their own bodies, sensitive to their own bodies and the limitations of their body. Then they will know how to use that machine, if you want to be crude. Actually, let's go beyond that. There's a wisdom and a communication that occurs physically. It's another kind of intelligence. And we can't neglect that. We've got to push that forward. Sure, they can compete in teams and so on, but let them, judge the whole thing on whether the two teams produced a good game to watch. Wow, you both, your combination here is two teams, winner and loser, made a really fun game to watch. Give them prizes for that as two competing teams together. That is a good idea. Trust me on that. What have we got? Yes. Fun! Okay. Hey, where does fun come from? Well, I think we need music skills and voice training. All of the kids. Because you want to watch a movie and enjoy it, try watching a movie without music. Not very much fun, is it, It communicates so much. And it's fun to play with and learn. So this is what needs to happen. We need to have this right from the beginning. Teaching kids music skills and voice training. And, also, in all of these situations, help the kids understand they're not, that learning means that you not only learn, but you try to teach. So you try to, if one kid does better, give them points for teaching another kid how to improve. That's very important. Okay. Give them glimpses into cutting-edge research and into how to ask questions that open new, exciting possibilities. Now, how many of us are, like me, I can't follow Michio Kaku all that well, or Neil deGrasse Tyson. But the possibilities that they present, and even though their intelligence to me is like a bird that I can follow so far and then it just disappears as a dot in the sky, and I can't follow it anymore. But it's fun. We like to hear these things, we like to hear, hey, what might be possible in the future? Get them excited. G. Self-realization skills. Well, I've already dogged that to death, but self-realization means communication between your dramatic self and your brain through the interface of creativity, through your perspective of objectivity, your perspective of empathy, these kind of dialogues that improve those skills, and a dialogue with your body. And I don't just mean sitting there and, but you can do that moving around, and that's the kind of yoga I am not an expert in, or I wouldn't have this huge podcast. But that's important too, because knowledge of your dialogue with your physical sensations and so on. Your body's different when it moves, different with each movement. So, let's have a little deep introspection. What do I mean by self-realization skills? Well, the skills that help the person to introspect, to know themselves, their body, others, That's empathy. Understanding themselves and other things, objectivity, and getting in touch with that, and also getting in touch with your creativity. The ability to get outside of your timeline, your dramatic experience of life. Just jump up ahead, jump up in your mind, up above, look down, see yourself. You're a struggling hero. You're watching that movie or reading that book. Who are you rooting for? The star of the movie, the book, that's you. Root for that person as a creative perspective. Create new possibilities and experiences through the imagination. And you'll benefit from that. It is this creativity that can reach into your past as empathy to heal the anxieties from the present looking into the past, and reach into your future as objectivity to help anxieties from the present looking into the future as two arms that creativity can embrace you in its warmth, its love, as those anxieties drop. And as those anxieties drop, you're in bliss. You're in a heaven without time. This is illustrated by the fact that you have to call the kids in from play for dinner because they have no sense of time. You're having fun. So have fun with your life. This is the Texas guru, Rich Sotelo, teaching himself as he teaches you and advising you to do the same. Namaste.